Only lavishness, civilized savages. In my mind is a plan to expand and get adequate land to Africa. Till then, I'm still enlightened when rapping. My word is scripture, my nerve genuine in character. Realness from dealing to the pen. Now I get deals cause my pen is immaculate. Health is wealth, broke niggas are sick. Rappers
what is up,
alive,
guys? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. Today we're looking at a designer scent. Oh my god, a review of a designer scent? Yes. You know, I focused on a few designer scents over the past months, I think, but usually discontinued ones. I think the last designer scent that I reviewed that hasn't been discontinued might have been Fahrenheit, but I could be wrong about that. But we'll be doing designer scents in the future. You know, maybe something by Carolina Herrera, Armani, Bulgari, so stuff like that. Today we are doing another discontinued one, and I like to do these because with the non-discontinued ones, it's sort of easy for you guys to decide if they're worth checking out. You guys can easily go to Sephora or the mall and see if they have, you know, Bulgari Man Intense or Dior Homme. With these, it's harder, and I think that what I'm trying to do with these is let you guys know whether I think it's worth you going out of your way to get your hands on one of these. And usually if I went out of my way to get my hands on them, then I'm going to think that they're worth it. Today we're looking at one from the house of Givenchy. Givenchy is a house that's done a few nice scents. You know, Plain Tense comes to mind, Pie comes to mind, the original Essence, and all of those are on my to-buy list, as well as I'm going to check out their new higher-end Privé line. But this is my first Givenchy fragrance, which is pretty unbelievable. I have so much respect for Givenchy. When you speak about fashion, this was a house that was just dead in the 90s and 2000s, but you know, they were recently resurrected a few years ago. You know, Kanye West really jumped behind them. He had them do the cover art to his album with Jay-Z, Watch the Throne. They, of course, had shit going crazy in the streets with their Birds of Paradise and their Rottweiler and their shark shirts, and those were just huge. You know, I'm a little too grown these days for those, but I actually do have one of the Rottweiler shirts. They're expensive, though. You know, $500 to $600 for a t-shirt, you know, with a fucking dog on it, is a lot of money. The House of Givenchy is a French house that was started in 1952 by a gentleman named Count Hubert de Givenchy. And what really blew him up was a collection that he did in 1960 called Les Sepres Belles, which featured floaty skirts and puffy blouses made from raw cotton. Now, that's what put him on the map. And then Vogue did a story on Givenchy and the styles from the house that they called the must-have piece from Givenchy. It was called the Bettina blouse, and it was basically a white shirt named in honor of Bettina Graziani, who was a French fashion model in the 40s and 50s. And then the New York Times did a story on Givenchy, calling him one of the most happening designers in the world. And that's what sort of really set the company into that next level. Givenchy started to get muses. Muses are basically like, you know, women who sort of represent your brand. You give them clothing, and you kind of make clothing for their shape. And they're just sort of affiliated with your brand. You know, ones for Givenchy were Susie Parker, Dorian Lee. You know, a lot of famous actresses were Givenchy muses. And Givenchy is also credited as the first designer to do a ready-to-wear luxury clothing line, which was called Givenchy University. In 1969, they launched their first men's collection called Givenchy Gentleman, and he opened a separate boutique in Paris just for men's. And in the 1970s, the house really blanched out to do shoes and jewelry and ties and kimonos. They did an automobile in conjunction with Ford. Hubert de Givenchy did several interiors of Hilton hotels. And in 1988, Givenchy was acquired by the LVMH group, of course, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and in 1995, Givenchy retired and was succeeded by John Galliano. Within 2 years, Galliano left for Dior, and Alexander McQueen took over Givenchy. So you could see that there was a lot of talent at Givenchy. Since 2005, an Italian fashion designer and a really brilliant one at that name, Riccardo Tisci, has been the creative director at Givenchy. As far as fragrances go, Parfum Givenchy was founded in 1957. Their first feminine fragrance was called L'Interdit, and their first men's fragrance was Monsieur de Givenchy, which dropped in '59. As of now, They have a grand total of 166 fragrances in the catalog, and their perfumer list is Who's Who in the Field, Du Chauffeur, Cresp, Dimache, Nigel, etc. This one is called Very Irresistible for Men, and it launched in 2005 by perfumer Pierre Moyer. He's a great perfumer. He did Jacquard Noir, he did Antidote for Victor Rolf, he did L'Homme and La Nuit de l'Homme for YSL, and many other fragrances as well. And the notes are very irresistible, are mint, cedar, grapefruit, mocha, and hazelnut wood. Now, this one has officially been discontinued. You can still find it popping up on sites like eBay for 50 bucks about for 50 ml and a little bit more for 100 ml. I got my bottle online at eBay in a 50 ml sealed set with shower gel for 40 bucks. So I got a great deal on this fragrance, I think. The presentation, the box was, again, a set, so it just came in this big Givenchy box with the shower gel. The bottle has Very Irresistible by Givenchy right there. And it's sort of clear or neonish. Well, the bottle goes from neon or just green to black at the top, and the sprayer is actually right here, and it's kind of hard to spray. You have to push down, the juice comes out there. It's a very, I would just say it's not a good atomizer. Let's just say that. I think the bottle's cool, but I think the atomizer's not. And, you know, so really having a week to really play with this, I would say, for me, to my nose, this is probably the biggest blind buy disappointment that I've ever experienced. I think this scent is awful. I get mocha, grapefruit, and mint, but the problem is that they're unbelievably synthetic. It opens with a very tart-like grapefruit rind note with some mint and some mocha in the backbone, and it's harsh. It's just really harsh to the point where it's just really unpleasant to get my nose on. You know, yes, there's mocha, yes, there's mint, but it's also horribly synthetic, and you don't really want to smell it. And the good news, I guess, is that within an hour, it's completely dried down, and there's just a faint sort of rotten chocolate note on your skin that's very hard to detect, thank God. The performance is horrible. The fragrance is horrible. I like the presentation, but the atomizer is poor, and it's hard to push down on to get a good spray. Again, I'll show you. I'm exerting pretty good force to get that little trickle out. I would not wear this man or woman anywhere in any season, but if for some reason you do like this, and hey, different strokes for different folks. I think it's more a cold weather suited fragrance than warm. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. You know, I admire the concept, but it's been executed horribly. I think the bottle is nice, even though it doesn't function well. And the price that I got for 40 bucks is okay, but it's worth way less than $40. Thankfully, I've smelled a lot better from Givenchy. Gentleman, the new Gentleman Intense, Play Intense, Pie, Insolence are all really nice fragrances, and I do plan on buying more from the house, but we're off to a hard start. I think a lot of houses have a poor fragrance in their lineup. I think that's just the way it usually goes. Not all of them, but a lot do. And I'm going to buy more from Givenchy and enjoy more from Givenchy, but Very Irresistible is very shitty. And you might think, you know, Max was just waiting to rip into a fragrance. He hasn't reviewed a designer fragrance for so long, and now he's ripping one. That's untrue. I was going to review this fragrance whether it was a 10 out of 10, which I had hoped for, because I love unearthing gems out there. And if you look at the big houses that I've reviewed, at least one from Dior, YSL, Hermes, Chanel, Mugler, Guerlain, Tom Ford, you know, I've done at least one fragrance from each house. And we'll get to other ones. We'll get to Polo and Zegna and Boss and Armani and Lacoste. We'll get to all of them in due time. You know, today was just Givenchy's time. And, you know, no one is more upset than I am that this fragrance is this much of a shit show. As I said, I wanted to like this and unearth another gem, but this one was discontinued for good reason, and more than perception of my opinion, what's more important to me than that, it has been since day one of my reviewer journey, is to make sure that you guys, my supporters and friends, don't waste your money on fragrances not worthy of your shelves. So if a fragrance doesn't jive, whether it's by Givenchy or Xerjoff or Imaginary Authors or Kerosene, I'm going to get on my channel and tell you my opinion. And if that means I don't get samples or some other shithead reviewer thinks I'm being negative, well, let's be honest. Do you think I give a fuck? I mean, I know you can't see me, but you know me well enough to do you think my face right now is showing the face of someone who gives a fuck? No, I'm not beholden to any house or any perfumer. I'm beholden to you, and I'm beholden to the person that I look at every day in the mirror. And there are reviewers out there that won't be as harsh as I am, and that's fine for them. There's all different styles of reviewing, and I like the reviewers that I like. And some of the ones that I love sometimes won't eviscerate a fragrance, and that's fine. But this is how I feel, and I'm totally comfortable in my skin and reviewing fragrances and letting you know what I think. And in almost 2 years, I've never had anything this bad to say about anything. So that should be a real indication of my feeling about Very Irresistible. And this was not for show. It's for you. Do not buy this. It blows albino giraffe cock. Now, at the end of these, I like to do 3 things. Now, first, well, where else can you get a fragrance like this? Well, if you're looking for a coffee fragrance, check out Mugler Pure Coffee, Intense Espresso Royale by Sebastian, Intense Cafe by Montel. All nice coffee fragrances. If you want a chocolate fragrance, you can go Chocolate Giddy by Montal, Musk Maori by Parfumerie Generale. There's a lot out there. So what would someone who was trying to sell you this fragrance say? Well, they either better have Jedi mind tricks or fucking chloroform you and take your wallet. Because for someone to sell me this after I had smelled it, they'd need a rifle pointed at a loved one's head, or it better come with a free blowjob voucher from Brazzers for the star of my choosing. Seriously. What would someone say to dissuade you from buying this? They'd say it's shit. Give it a smell. You can't possibly like this. If you do, what the fuck's wrong with you? You might as well just cover yourself in coffee grounds from a trash heap and a homeless man's urine. That would be the argument of someone trying to dissuade you from buying this fragrance. So there you go, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't want you to waste your money on this. We'll be back with a different Givenchy fragrance in the future. We'll be back with more videos next week. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them. And, if someone out there likes this fragrance, hit me up and let me know. And maybe I just got a shit bottle, or maybe my nose ain't working right for this one. But for me, this doesn't work.
You got goons,
see you guys soon. My name is Maximilian.
Sleep is hazardous when you